It's okay. Right there.
No, it's saying you see that.
Today we're going on an adventure. We don't really know what it looks like. It is 4th of July. I do not want to be in the muck of like buy this type stuff. There wasn't a lot of parade type things happening. Our town, or the town that we're in, has a festival at the end of the month. So I think what we're going to do is a couple towns over, they have a historical, there's like a thing that's a historical site that's open on a couple days a year, and this is one of the days, so I think that we're going to go check that out. So just join us for the day because we're just finding cool things to do. So to me, it kind of looked like a house when I was going in. I was like, oh, I thought that we were visiting a jail, but it was just wow. We listened to it's about a 20-minute like speech about the property, and yeah, it was really amazing. I'm trying to decide. I recorded his voice for a little while that talked about it all, but I think that it might not. I don't know how to piece that together. Anyway, very, very interesting, very informative. It was just so neat. So the old part of this jail, it was debtors jail plus like murderers. So debtors would actually live upstairs in what looked like almost like rooms, but there would be like slats in between them and the doors would be locked, but then there was like a common area where they could come out and play cards. They also, the debtors part of the prison would go, and there was like a weaving loom in there. Sometimes they would be like cobblers or something like that, and they would work, and then they would be allowed with guards to go out into the town and sell their wares. So this prison here was not just for the York area. It was for York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. And so they would go out and they'd sell their product until they paid off their debts, which is really interesting. Another thing is the hard part of the like murderers and that type of stuff was definitely more secure than the other parts of the prison. And so those people were locked up. But this one guy, he wanted to he was saying that he was a cobbler, and he said that he needed the tools to be a cobbler, and they allowed that in the cell so that they could make a profit off of him being in there, and they would sell his wares. Well, over time, he ended up cutting a hole in the wall and escaping, and they never found him. Another person that escaped from this prison was a mother of 6. She escaped from prison. She had 6 children, and I guess the children were with her sister, and she escaped from the prison, and they never found her. I know I sound like some like crazy lady, but these are the stories that they told like from the prison. You'll also notice I did read some, so you know, if you don't like me reading, just fast forward over it. But I did read this one interesting story that was up on the wall. I was like, I gotta read this to them. I was bouncing the baby at the same time, so if I'm a little wobbly in that part, I'm sorry about that. But it was a really, really interesting story, or I found it to be an interesting story. It was just weird. And then the guy was also telling a story of once it was not a jail anymore. So the original jail was the husband and the wife, and the husband passed away, and the woman became like the jail owner, whatever, after they weren't doing so much anymore. And she would give tours of the jail to help her make money. There was this traveling, I don't remember dates, sorry guys. There's this traveling guy who would go to York Beach, and he would bring his bear. And so they didn't want him and his bear staying any other place, so they would have him stay in this old jailhouse to keep everyone safe from this like circus type of bear. And there's claw marks in one of the cells from where they kept the bear. There was also in the schoolhouse, there was little drawings of with like little graffiti back in those days with little boats and stuff on it. Wow. it was just preserved like nobody's business. Now, we have been to a lot of historic sites. We went to Paul Revere's house, which has been redone a lot of the times. A lot of this is like just there, like it's history just sitting there for you to look at. Yeah, really cool. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Gather around, right here, gather right
Someone, and Dr. Lyman, now I owe him. And so, back in my days, if you owe people money, you could be put in a debtor's prison, which you will see upstairs. And I am here. So when you go in there, so when you're all done, I'll collect you here and we'll do something maybe.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mom's coming in too.
You go to Dr. Lyman's.
That's what our walls look like underneath.
See, that's the wall up there.
Ah.
Try and shine it, see.
That's a tall back chair. There's a chair for you. No.
I feel real when I stand there. There's a wall.
Oh, excuse us.
Pardon me. Hello, good day, citizens. Hello.
How are you?
Good. I am a weaver, unfortunately.
You can shut the
We
door.
don't have the keys. How old?
He is 9 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You go first, ladies.
he is, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sniffy.
There's the marijuana.
So this would have gone on, this would have been all piecemeal. Almost every room you go into would be about a good 20 to 30 years added on. Roof, this was still one roof. It was not second story at this time. They would have added this because the French-Canadian War would have ended. More people had come down to get jobs on the coast. And with more people, more crime. So they added this, and this would have been, could have been 10 people in each room.
I see. Do you want to look at
Rumor has it 20 would have been, might have been in here one time, but I'm not even sure that would happen. But this would have been their bathroom. And when you go upstairs, you'll see that this ended, and then another one was opened up upstairs with a little bit better facility.
What's there? It's a play. That's the other room, isn't it? It went into the other room. Is there someone over there?
Wave at me because I think
The Case of Patience Boston. I was born at Menominee on Cape Cod, December 26, 1712. I suppose I was baptized in my infancy, my mother being in full communion with the Indian Church of Nauset, as I have been informed, for my mother died when I was about 3 years old, soon after which my father bound me out to Mr. Paul Crow, a religious family in which I was taught to read and learn the Assembly's catechism. But I was very wicked. I took little notice of what it was said to me. I used to play on the Sabbath, tell lies, and do wickedness. And 3 times I set fire to the house when I was about 12 years old. My convictions were too weak for my strong and violent corruptions. I went out nights and kept bad company. I followed lewd practices till I was freed from my master. In about a year I was married to a Negro servant, and because his master would have it so, I bound myself a servant with him during his lifetime, or as long as we both shall live. After I found I was with child, I had thoughts of murdering it, and whilst I was big, I ran away from my master, my husband being absent on a whaling voyage. I drank hard and broke my marriage covenant, being wicked from above measure. After I got home, I was delivering of a child which I had hurt in my rambling. So both its arms were broken, and it died a few weeks, so that I now think I am guilty of its death. I choose to be bound to my new master for 2 years, and my husband consenting. I was bound to Captain Dimmick, who after about a year sold me at my desire to Mr. Joseph Bailey of Costco Bay. But to speak of the horrid wilful murder of which I have indeed been guilty, from some of the groundless prejudice which I had taken against Master Benjamin Shilling, to whom I was sold by Mr. Bailey, I did last fall bind myself by a wicked oath that I would murder his grandchild Benjamin Trout. I took the opportunity of my master and mistress being from home, that the child and I were left alone. I went to the well and threw a pole in, that I might have excuse to draw the boy to the well, which having done, I asked his help to get up the pole, that I might push him in, which having done, I took the pole and thrust him down under the water till he was drowned. When I saw he was dead, I lifted my hands with my eyes toward the heaven, speaking after this manner, Now I am guilty of murder indeed. I went forthwith and informed the authority. After the jury had brought in willful murder, I was sent to prison at York. I wished for a knife or a string, my garters, my coat string being taken from me. I wish I could have gone to the water, which I saw through the grate, to have drowned myself. The mister and other visited me in this condition. I would have encouraged me to hope in the infinite mercy of God, the merits of Christ, mentioned many promises and examples of pardoning mercies out of the scriptures, but nothing reached me. After several months of counseling by ministers of the gospel, I was sometimes sorely tempted to deny my guilt on my trial. And while this temptation lasted, I had no inward comfort, the vain hope I had escaped the gallows, and enjoy my child born in York Gallows. I am going back to my relations and acquaintances afforded me many pleasings, but it was not like the joy of the Lord I had before and have since had. I told this morning, June 30th, 1734, by one that looked in through the grates after he was denied coming into my cell, that by pleading guilty I hanged myself. I did not move. Such temptations used to do before my trial, yet I dare not trust myself or depend on grace received. I would depend on Christ alone, whatever trials I may yet have, to uphold, strengthen, and carry me through. Executed July 24th, 1735, at York Gallows. Her last words were, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. No. We'll probably see it on the other side.
So they didn't really live,
Wow, look at that, huh?
Mom, come on.
Okay, I'm walking, we're walking. That's the one you could see through the window over there. So this is the debtors part. So these are the people who didn't do, that owed people money.
Let me out. Let me out. Oh, this is what they would hurt if they were trying to get out.
Watch your fingers.
I know they could do secret Remember your car.
Eden,
I don't think you'd be
you're
able to
supposed
do
to
this.
be clean. Just like your mama's supposed to be a person and your dad's supposed to be a John. You're supposed to be a king.
Oh no, my children are in prison. What did you do wrong?
Nothing.
You did nothing wrong. Then why are you in prison?
I'm not in prison. I figured it out. I'm in prison.
You are? What did you do wrong?
Toilet over there.
Nothing I
We
did.
don't got one in here, but you got one right there.
Is that a toilet? I'm gonna ask. This was indeed a toilet. It had a pipe that went out the second story.
In a big timeout.
Mom.
Let you out of prison? It looks like you were a debtor. What does the Bible say about debt?
Can I touch the things that's in this stove?
Yes. One finger, don't get dirty. It's just coal. Yeah, that's wrought iron. Okay. Ready? So as we visited inside, there was some really, really nice people. They were like reenacting different things. And she said, when we have a big group or a lot of people, we like to kind of reenact what would have happened if somebody was, say, a debtor or a liar or something like that. So we went outside and went to the gallows. Although we were not that great at saying mean, hateful things to them. She said a lot of times they would be like yelling at them and spitting at them and just really hateful and mean. But the kids got to experience like what it might have felt like realizing that they were on a main road and people were coming after and people might like throw tomatoes. And yeah, it was nice that she let us do that.
You can decide what the crime is and whether or not
Oh, you better watch out.
So now what we say to her is we say, she talks to everybody, stop that. We don't want you to do that. You yell at her. Even through tomatoes.
No gossiping.
No gossiping. Who are you speaking to? I don't want to hear those tales. It's not true.
That's not nice.
It's not nice.
Were you talking about me? It's not fair.
It's not right. Boy, we have a quiet.
Boo.
No talking. Boo. Shame.
Were you? I think you were telling lies about other people.
You're telling lies. She's a liar and a gossip.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
we could have put both on her.
Look how close you were around town and everyone would have walked by and seen you.
She's gonna be an escapee too. Big trouble. With gossiping, whispering.
Shame on you, Eden.
Shame, shame.
You should not have done that.
Don't gossip anymore.
My goodness. So then we went to walk back to the museum. So the museum is a couple houses up. There's the graveyard and a couple houses in between there, between there and the gallows. So in the museum there is tons and tons of artifacts. There's they also have the tavern there, which we got to tour, as well as the schoolhouse, which we got to tour. And then we got to play some fun old-fashioned games with, she was such a sweet lady outside. She was such a character. She reminded me of my Aunt Judy, honestly. It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because in the morning I had seen in our little local newspaper that we get for free, it had given like 4th of July events that were going on and whatever. And so I was like, oh, this sounds fun. We could visit like an old prison. I knew absolutely nothing about this old prison. I just thought, hey, maybe this would work out and maybe it could be fun. And for today it was free. And then I went to look up and it looked like that you had to like have a ticket for the day, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But then when you reread it, it was like, oh, well, part of it was and part of it wasn't. So we decided that we would just take a gamble and see if we wanted to go there. So we figured, worst comes to worst, we try and go there, and then if it doesn't work, then we just go another place local. So we had another backup plan, which we ended up going both the places, which will be in another video. We went to Mount Agarimatis. So these are some of the headstones that are in this graveyard here, and it has them all mapped out for you. This is the historic district of York. So in between the gallow and the museum, there's quite a few historical buildings. So now we're walking over to the museum right here. So even up here in the museum, there was a woman that gave us a tour, and she showed us this amazing picture where you can barely see with the naked eye the people and detail in this ship. But when you take your camera and you zoom in, it must have been done under a magnifying glass, you can see people, you can see so many things so close up. See, you can see that right there. That's the name of the boat, and you can't see it with your naked eye on the ship. So it was really, really amazing. We spent some time over there, and she was so sweet. She gave the kids the phone, like, here, you experiment with it. And so they were able to look all over the place and just look at the whole piece, and there's just such depth in that. So the painter of this was right there. Boone Island is an island with not grass at all. It's just a very small island, and the son and the father, the Coast Guard keeper, made those little fiddles living on that island. That's a pretty neat story as well. I am so intrigued. That says French and Indian powdered horn. That's where they put their gunpowder. Okay, walking. We're in a museum. Potty chair. Okay, carefully open. The people in this museum were amazing. And let me just tell you, amazing. Normally, when we go to a museum, I think they're apprehensive because the sheer number of people, along with old and young children, until we have been there a couple minutes and they realize that the kids aren't going to run wild. We want them to hold hands in certain areas. We want to make sure that they're safe and appreciate the artifacts that are there in the museum. And so, but these people, just from start one, the lady was like, oh, you've never been here before? Let me take you inside. And then the guy who was going to be giving tours, which is what I needed to, if you wanted to be part of the actual tour, you needed to assign yourself a ticket. But the one who was giving tours at 1 o'clock, he actually brought us over for this speech that was going on over in the gallows. And then he also is the one who brought us around to all these different places. And then as soon as he would see us again, he'd be like, here, have you seen this yet? I'll hook you up with this lady over here to tell you all about these things. I mean, the lady in the museum was wonderful. She was like, oh, maybe you guys want to see this piece and this and this and this, and kept everyone so engaged. Just so amazing. I think that museums who have great people working there, I remember on the island, Campobello Island, going into the Roosevelt House, it was the same way, very engaging. Would you like to be lifted up to all the staff there? That's where they would serve things. They would serve drinks in there. This is where somebody would stand and they would serve drinks and such. Then ask someone. So then we went over to the schoolhouse, and they really enjoyed seeing that. We've seen different old one-room schoolhouses numerous times, but they're all a little bit different. This was before the time that they actually had the seat and the desks together. It was just the benches. So that was kind of interesting. It's the first time we've seen that type of style in a schoolroom.
Artists, their families bring in the crops, they go back to school, and in the springtime they'd be out of school so that they could help plant the crops in farms. This becomes farming land eventually.
I love this lady. She was such a hoot.
This is the second time I've done it today. Woo! Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna fling it back to you. All right. 1, 2, 3. I found wood in the woods and I cut it like a square. So I stood back here and back, and I said, I'm gonna roll this and hit it, try to get it in a hoop. 1, 2, 3, and try again. Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and ay, ay, ay. I'm good at everything else, but not this. Okay, well, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, and Thank you, Jen. Thank you again. Okay, now. Okay, it's tricky dicky. Because
Look at you.
Okay, I'd like to see you try, Grace. Go ahead. Ready, go.
Nice work.
You almost got your head. Which is like so long.
You did it.
Right here. Over here. You guys, right here. You want to get out of Grayson's way.